Okay, I'd like to introduce Seth then. I'm going to mute everybody's phone except Seth's and mine for right now. And Seth, I guess you have to unmute yours on your own. So,
Okay, I got it.
okay. Seth is the owner of Sarah Solutions, which has been a leader in website design since 2014. And he's a leading global partner in Northwest Indiana, Google partner in Northwest Indiana. He's here today to talk to us a little bit about some digital marketing tips. And Seth, would you like to go ahead and start?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you everybody for having me here today. I have actually had an interest over the last few years in Rotary. I just haven't actually, gone for it. So it's good to be here today. I got to meet Debbie and John, and obviously I already know Mike. So it's nice to meet them and see some friendly faces here. So yeah, if you'd like, I can just jump right into a presentation. I have not used Cisco before, so I'm gonna figure this one out quickly. Let's see. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep, we can.
Okay, awesome. Is that full screen?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, today I plan to talk about digital marketing tips, and it'll be a little bit of a different spin. I've given quite a few workshops and talks before on digital marketing for businesses. Wasn't quite sure, right, how many people in Rotary or this group today would be a business owner or someone who was involved with marketing. So I wanted to look at it from a few different ways, but I think regardless, the majority of people knowing more about digital marketing is a good thing for everybody. So without further ado, I don't know if I can see how to, all right. So we are a Google partner. There's only a few actually throughout Northwest Indiana. And basically what a Google partner means is that we have our certifications, so myself and members of our team, through Google for managing ad accounts, Google Analytics, websites, etc. Their certifications actually aren't the easiest in the world, but definitely very good to know. And one big component of being a Google partner is not only do you have to be certified in these exams on a regular basis, but you also have to maintain a spend amount through Google. So that just basically means that we have a large list of clients that we manage their money, and Google thinks that we do a good job with it. So that's just kind of a plaque of trustability, I suppose. So rest assured, anything I tell you today, I am pretty confident it is accurate. And a lot of this material we can get from Google, so they have it all backed up with studies. So we'll go over a few, I suppose, did you know items first, and then I'll kind of give a general overview of digital marketing. But what I find a lot more fascinating about digital marketing is how it impacts local businesses and local organizations. So I'll go over that. And then at the end, I'll kind of give a few tips on what I think people and businesses can do to improve. So everybody probably knows, especially if you have an iPhone and it likes to remind you of your screen usage, every day or once a week, and make you feel guilty there. That we check our phones a lot each day. So over 150 times on average. This data is probably from a year or two ago, so it's probably even more now. And we also spend nearly 3 hours a day on our phone. So people are very technology reliant nowadays. And local, in the grand scheme of things, matters a lot. So there's billions of Googles across Google each month. That's an interesting one, a verb and a noun. But the interesting part of the data over the last 5-8 years is that I think that there's been a big concern about people using digital more, and the fear of going to more of the Amazon shopping and or say Walmart, et cetera. And while that probably does happen, there's also a huge opportunity for local businesses. The amount of times people have searched for near me or within their city has gone up 34-fold. So people care about supporting local, but they also want promptness in what they're looking for. So local still has a huge opportunity when it comes to digital marketing and competing with Amazon or Walmart, et cetera. And so we look at three things with how consumers have changed over the last decade or two. And one of them is we're extremely impatient and extremely impulsive. So when we want something, we want it now. Where can I get my car's oil changed today? And where can I pick up this item that I need for my home project in the next hour? That's very much how people use their digital devices now, which explains a lot of the near me's and local searches. Since websites are no longer new and social media isn't new, people are a lot less forgiving of experiences that aren't frictionless. So running into error pages and slow loading websites, people aren't very tolerant and they'll go elsewhere. So that needs to be a big focal point. And people historically have always been very loyal to brands. Like they only shop, Craftsman tools or I don't know, something like that. We're at a specific store. That has begun to change nowadays for kind of in relation to the other points of, what's the most competitive price? What can I get the quickest? And what's the best fit? So much less loyal to a brand, which isn't a bad thing. It again gives local people a chance to compete. So the old reality, and I want to emphasize here, when I say old reality, it doesn't mean that it does not exist anymore, just definitely a lot less common than it once was. So that is going to be people being driven by physical marketing while walking in their downtown areas. People having signs outside with their specials, etc. Still very important, but I think a lot less people nowadays tend to just go park downtown and walk and window shop. So it's important that businesses recognize that. The new reality is that people are searching for what they might want to do that day or might want to purchase that day in advance on their mobile device or their computer. And so some interesting statistics, these are at least a few years old now, but store traffic was down when Google had done this study by over 53%, but the value of each store visit was going up nearly twofold. So there's opportunity for, I think, more quality transactions with customers nowadays with technology. And so the big question is, why does all of this matter and why does digital matter? So despite consumers using online e-commerce and everything a lot more often, 85% of consumer spending is still happening locally. And 3 of 4 people who make a local search, so those near me's or LaPorte, Michigan City searches, they still go and visit a store, restaurant, etc. within 24 hours. And to me, those are astronomically significant numbers. So we want to make sure that all of our businesses and organizations are showing up, so then that way they can be in one of those 3 or 4 people's agendas to go and visit. And what everybody cares about as well is not just a business doing well, but the effects of a business doing well, which is growing revenue and creating new jobs in the area. So that has been my fascination with digital marketing and local business. I always wanted to know, over the years, we've developed, 200, 300, 400 websites for local businesses. What does that actually do? We know that on each one, they usually have an increase in sales. And we know that maybe only one, if, has actually closed their doors. But if you look elsewhere, you'll notice places that don't have new mobile websites and digital marketing typically don't do as well. So I've always wanted to know the significance of the work that we do in the local economy and the local communities. Luckily enough, because I'm a huge data nerd when it comes to this stuff, Google did this really large scale report across the United States specifically on how digital marketing affects local businesses, and some key takeaways. So what they looked at was kind of separating the businesses into different categories based on their digital savviness. And what that's going to mean is someone who isn't savvy at all is going to be a business that basically does not exist online. And if they do, it's kind of by luck, someone having mentioned them. And then it gradually goes up the scale to a business that has online directory listings, e-commerce mobile websites that are speed and security optimized. And what they found is that those that were on that more advanced scale were three times more likely to have an increase in calls, leads, and sales inquiries, which probably makes it obvious to the, oh, I skipped the slide. Oh boy, there we go. Makes it obvious that they had an increase in revenue because they had more calls and sales. So they were, their revenue growth was 4 times as high as those who did not. And with more revenue comes more jobs, usually and hopefully. So they were also 3 times more likely to have created jobs. So when I see a report like this, I mean, I already love what I do, but it really drives me to want to make sure that we can get every local business, to the solo entrepreneur who is starting a business, to the business that's been around for 70 years but doesn't have a website still. We want to make sure that they do these things because it's a better place for all of us if they do. This is a pretty interesting story. This would be an example of a business that had existed in the old reality, if you'd like to call it that way, and then one that had transitioned. So Alpaca Direct is actually not from this area at all. They're out in Colorado, I believe. And they started in 2005 as a local yarn shop. The majority of their revenue came from local, I don't know if you would call that weaving, but I'll call it local yarn classes. And that was the majority of the revenue, and people found them usually from word of mouth throughout the town. They decided that they wanted to grow more and be more than just a local place to do classes. So they invested in digital marketing, specifically e-commerce websites, Google Ads, Facebook ads, etc. And fast forward to, I think, 2017, 2018, when they were, Google did a case study on them. And now their revenue is 92% from the internet, not from the local classes. And they had over 100,000 customers across the world. And I just think that that is a fascinating story of, that is actually literally their team there. I think the 2 owners are on the right. Just a business who had no background in marketing or digital marketing and was able to do that. So that gives me a lot of inspiration and hope that even local businesses, if they don't want to go worldwide, there's still a huge opportunity to compete in today's market. If they can, then any local business can. And the fun question as well is, where do we start? I have a little bit of a different approach to this. For this, because again, I wasn't sure how many people would be business owners or managers in here. So there's a flip side to not just what can a business or organization do to increase digital marketing, but also what can we as consumers do as well. The screenshot that you see here is of a Google business page. Definitely nothing around here. This looks like it's from California, but it's a chocolate place. You're probably familiar. You see it on your phone when you're looking up a local restaurant, etc. I have become a little bit obsessed recently with trying to reach out to a lot of businesses and make them aware of what they're missing out on essentially by really utilizing these pages. Google Business Pages are 100% free. They take only a few minutes to set up, and basically every single business, despite the industry, has one. Whether you create one or not, Google will create one for you. And the big thing here is um, sometimes people will reach out and say, we're not being found on Google, but our competitors are. And I'll try to find them and I can't. The biggest thing, this is a chocolate shop on the screen, but recently we had a interior, not an interior decorator, but a remodeler reach out. Well, their Google business category was construction or HVAC construction, something somewhat related, but not really. Just something as simple as that on a free profile completely throws a curveball at Google, and then they just don't show up when people are searching for, bathroom remodeling. So I'm really encouraging every business to make sure, organization, that their categories are correct on Google, as well as the obvious, which is going to be more of the hours. Nothing's more frustrating than when I want Dairy Queen at 9:15 at night and I go there because it says that they're open, and then turns out they're on winter hours now and I did not get ice cream from there. This happened like yesterday. So we want to make sure that their hours are up to date. It's very easy to do. Their website's linked, have a description on there with some photos. That's kind of the things that the business can do. But on the flip side, if you haven't done this before, I totally suggest that you do. Ironically, suggest and edit. So I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but it's on that page over on the left-hand side towards the bottom, suggest and edit. You can basically tell the business owner, hey, your hours aren't correct. Here's what they actually are. Here are some amenities or features that you offer that you're not listing. I do this all of the time. And it's pretty gratifying to get an email from Google a day or a week later saying, thanks for your recommendation. The business has accepted your edits. It's free, and it just helped them get found online significantly more. So we want to make sure that the free, easy things that everybody can do within 20 minutes, that has an impact. The other part of this is a website. When people want to learn more about something, whether it's a restaurant menu or making reservations, having a well-designed, secure, fast website is absolutely crucial. So, even letting a business know if it was a poor experience, let them know, because maybe you're a loyal customer who's still going to visit regardless. Going back to earlier, people aren't as tolerant of that nowadays, so it's important to at least communicate what issues you ran into so the business can fix it. So I guess my big point here is there's a lot that we can do as consumers to take the load off of the business a little bit and kind of help them in areas where maybe they don't have the time or resources right now. And that just makes for a more pleasant experience for everybody around us. I suggested those edits to Dairy Queen, and you'd be happy to know that they were updated today. So that's why I use that example. So that's a big part of it, and it just all starts on Google. The other part is actually a picture from me a long time ago. This is in Valpo through SCORE, probably in like 2016, giving a workshop to local businesses. And these have always gone extremely well. I think that just awareness about general website tips, Google business pages, setting up or being consistent online, that's another one. If you're going to update something on Google, make sure that it's also updated on Apple Maps and Bing, those other places. A big inconsistency is even between Google business pages and Facebook business pages. Try to update both or let people know if they are outdated. So I think it is quite literally things just like this of having someone who's versed in the digital marketing world, giving some quick tips, tricks, why it matters for both business owners, community leaders, and just consumers on why it's important, and having resources for entrepreneurs and small businesses to reach out to. I know the chambers, EDCs, ISBDCs and SCORE have been incredible partners for this. I can't imagine if they wouldn't do workshops or things like this, how many businesses would be behind in those areas. So that generally concludes my presentation. I hope that if people didn't understand or realize the benefit of digital marketing on local business specifically, I hope that you do. And then just try to spread the word. And if you're having a bad digital experience, let someone know in that business, and hopefully they get it fixed. But there's a huge amount of unrealized and untaken advantage of potential that people can gain in our communities. So with that being said, I absolutely love Q&A. So if anybody has any questions at all, ask away. I thought I saw something pop up in the chat earlier. Oh boy.
I sent those out. This is Jim Welborn. I had two questions. Okay, how do you locate a business who is on a Google business page but doesn't have a website?
So you're saying, how do you know which ones don't have websites from a Google business page?
No. How do you find them on a Google? How do you find their Google business page?
Oh, so if you're just, so there's two different ways. One is what we'd call direct, which is if I'm looking for Flanagan Tire. If I Google Flanagan Tire, their business profile is going to show up right at the top, have their call, get directions, visit website. That's how you find it in one way. The other way is indirect, and that's going to be me looking for tire repair center near me. And then they show up on Google Maps or on Google Search or on Apple Maps. It all takes you back to the same place, really. So those are two different ways to find places, their Google business pages.
Are these pretty much for-profit companies that the business pages are about?
No. So that's where I think there's a misconception that maybe these pages are only good for your downtown retail, which they are extremely important. But even for a big one I see nowadays is doctor offices or nonprofit local services for the community, having updated addresses, phone numbers, those are huge. So I would encourage anybody, nonprofits and especially those like social services specifically, to make sure that all of their stuff is up to date.
Well, the reason I asked is I went out and put service clubs near me, and the Lions Club showed up, but the Rotary Club did not. So I was just wondering how.
So without looking at it, I think that that's an interesting one, and that's what keeps me up at night. But I would look at like the category that Rotary currently uses on a Google business page. Because if that's something that people search, like service clubs near me or such, there might be a better category that Rotary could be using, perhaps the one that the Lions Club is. That almost goes back to that example of the interior remodeler who was under the wrong category, and you just don't show up when people are looking for you. So that's like a free edit that you could make in 5 minutes if you have account access and start showing up more. Have more people join Rotary.
How do I find a business page?
Well,
I did a search on Michigan City Rotary Club, and it didn't give me a business page. Which means we don't have one at all.
You're right. So I'd imagine that you have one generated. If you search Michigan City Rotary specifically, if you do have a Google business page, it should show up. I don't think that you have a Google business page. So okay. I would strongly suggest probably visiting google.com/business and setting one up. It would honestly take probably less than 10 minutes. And yeah, that's actually a really good one.
Debbie and Lance, I'm sure you've heard that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised there isn't one, I'll be honest. Yeah. But and then the next thing you have to do is get good Google reviews so you show up really high. So every Rotarian needs to leave a 5-star review too.
One other question I had in the chat is, what about texting? Do you consider that a digital tool?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's actually one area I'm not very well versed in. Here at Sarah Solutions, we actually don't do much of the text marketing like for consumers. But I look at that really no differently than email. If anything, it's probably more effective than email. We all probably get less text than we do email, so when we get something, it's very useful. So I definitely encourage local businesses or organizations to utilize it, especially for existing customers specifically. Really good for like loyalty programs, reminders of appointments. I just got one before this call, so I think that that's a good idea.
Okay. Lance, I noticed you had a question in there.
Seth, I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you decided to start your business and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so that's always a fun one. I'm obviously a young entrepreneur. I think I saw Lori on this call. I think Lori's awesome. ISPDC is awesome. I was actually the 2017 Young Entrepreneur of the Year. That's a big achievement for me. And so that's how a lot of people know I'm a young entrepreneur. But the story with that is when I was graduating high school and going into college, I knew I wanted to be in business. I was always fascinated with everything business, Shark Tank specifically. And but I knew that if I was going to get into something, it would be, for life. And I wanted to make sure that I enjoyed what I did. So my grandpa worked until he was 84 years old as a computer programmer here locally, believe that or not. And I thought, why would you work until you're 84? You didn't need to, but he loved what he did. So that was kind of my driver behind really wanting to do a business that I enjoyed. When I was in middle school, I, for some reason, wanted to reverse engineer websites I visited. So I would visit, you name it, YouTube, and I'd look at all the source code and try to figure out how YouTube worked. And then I'd try to build a little miniature YouTube on my own for fun. Well, I kind of dropped off of that in high school. But when I went to go start a business, I thought, what's something I'm good at and I enjoy? And I was like, I always enjoyed doing websites. And I tried it out, a local business. I think my first client ever was actually the Floor Store in LaPorte, Jim Roy. And he was like, yeah, I'll give you a shot, and made him a website. And it went extremely well. And it was fun. He ended up getting more business from it. And so one thing led to another. And we have always been in the area and gradually grew our team. And yeah, it's been a really fun experience, but it was definitely created out of, I think, this area being behind in digital marketing and websites and me knowing how to do it. And yeah, so in my bio, usually I end it with my three key things. Usually I have them on my desk, but moving stuff around. It's be happy, be humble, and know your worth. So those were always the three drivers from my mentors, who were SCORE and some people through ISPDC. So that's kind of what's led me, and that's kind of what I instill in the guys that I have working here. You have to be happy with what you do. So I think that's maybe why we have a good reputation, is because we're always happy. Yeah, every day is a good day. But yeah, that's generally how I started my business. SCORE played a big part in that. So if people aren't familiar with SCORE, I would always suggest, if you know of a small local business, or I suppose that can be a large business, or someone wanting to start a business, reaching out to SCORE ISPDC. They're awesome resources. They're free. And I can tell you, when I was starting my business at 18, maybe it was 17, I would not have known what to do in a lot of ways. Yeah. And they didn't teach you all of that in school either at all. So, yeah. I don't think I'm able to hear you. Okay, well, yeah, I don't think it's just on my end, but I'm not able to hear you, Jen.
Can you hear me, Seth?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, I don't hear Jim either, but I thought first of all, congratulations. And I have to do a Seth testimony because he's been our go-to guy with the vibrant communities. Oh, Dahlia's clapping. And in fact, yeah, I can't see everybody anymore. Maybe because you're still screen sharing.
Yeah, because she's. There we go.
Yeah, there we are. Okay. All the Brady Bunch people are back. Yeah, so Seth's just been great to work with. Seth, can you get our Google Business thing for Unity set up? Because I'm sure we don't.
Man. So here we are. Yeah,
but I thought Rotarians might want to know that while Seth is a self-made person here, he was influenced by our former Alinsky Award winner Emerson Sparts, who came to Boston Middle School when Seth was 8th grade.
I think it was like 6th grade, actually. Yeah.
6th grade. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think your takeaway from that was, well, if that guy could do it, so could I, right? So.
Well, I always have like these reflection moments with the guys, and we'll be sitting there talking because we've had the same team for over 3 years now, which for a small business like this starting out, that's pretty rare. We're all definitely not getting crazy pay scales, so it's definitely a good team we have, but we never would have predicted where we'd be at in a year, let alone 3 years. And so I think when I heard Emerson speak at Boston, it was like, because he was a teenager, definitely, and thinking, wow, someone locally can do something like that. And yeah, when I started my business, I wouldn't have thought we'd have an office and several employees and work for the county government and all this stuff. Never. So I think it's really neat. And it's been totally homegrown. We haven't gotten any type of like external funding, parent funding, anything. It's been, that first client, Jim Roy, took all of that money and put it into Google Ads. I mean, quite literally. So it's been fun. But so we try to give back however we can. I think stuff like this is really neat. Like I said, Rotary is something I've always looked at as trying to learn more about. And I will say the Rotary website is actually very good, especially for a service club or anything like that. So I was really impressed by that. It was easy to find the events and the speaking info and other speakers. So yeah.
Yeah, and Seth, I sent you the application link. So now you know where to apply, and I would be honored to be your sponsor. And
I was going to say, I think I need a sponsor. So, okay.
Yeah, you got one. And then I want to do a shout out to the county website. I mean, they just unveiled that whole new remake of the county website right as COVID was coming on. And, the timing could not have been perfect. And the website, of course, has been fabulous. So good job.
Yeah, and they probably didn't know what they were getting into originally, but we definitely didn't tell them we were a group of young 20-something-year-old guys. But I just think that that's yet another one of those things I look back at with our team and go like, you would definitely think that'd be like a 30-year-old company that would handle that, but we haven't actually had a single run-in issue with that website in coming up on like 10 months. So it just goes to show, like, if you get a good team of people who really care about what they do, you can do good work. Even if you're a small homegrown business. So it's been fun. There's a lot of good people in this area too. So that's always very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Seth, I want to thank you for your presentation. And I think that I'm going to enjoy seeing you at our Rotary meetings once you become a member.
Absolutely.
And so what I'd like to do is ask Jessica right now to talk a little bit about something a point of sale we put on our website just recently, like yesterday. Jessica, do you want to talk about how you can order a shirt?
Yeah, I don't know anything about how web pages operate, so don't listen, Seth. But yeah, if anybody's interested in buying a Rotary shirt, you can now buy it through our website instead of coming to me here at the Salvation Army, which you can still do. We have, my video's off, isn't it? Here I am.
Yes,
sorry. Finishing my lunch while he was talking. We do have men's and women's shirts still available. They're $20. The proceeds from that will help our project from last year, which was the bench project at Franciscan. You can either go online at mcrotary.org to order them. I think Debbie posted a link on our Facebook page as well that'll take you to that site. or just let me know. I have them here in my office. I'd be happy to deliver them in Michigan City.
Okay, there's your opportunity to help. That's going to help out a project too, the bench project for Franciscan. Proceeds from that go to the bench project. So it's set up. If you go to look for your size and it's not there, that means we're sold out. Your size will only show up if we have some available. Okay. In the best terms of all sorts of marketing, remember we're running out. Hurry up.
Supply and demand. Get your shirt now.
Supply and demand. That's right. Get your shirt now. That's right. Before they're sold out.
Seth, you'll need a shirt if you're a Rotarian. Just saying.
No, I'm gonna have to scope that one out.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything else they want to talk about?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Matt, have at it.
Thank you, Seth. And of course, Seth works with us at Trinity Episcopal Church, does an amazing job. They recently did a live streaming broadcast for us, and it was extraordinary and so professional. And thank you, Seth. Okay, this is about Rotary Foundation. We have a goal to become. You're gonna have to help me with this, Jim. We want to be able to get a district grant. In order to get a district grant, we have to have a minimum for 3 years in a row of a average donation to Rotary Foundation of it's $50 per
$50, right?
$50 per Rotarian. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but right now our average is pathetic, and we are way behind our other clubs in Chesterton or LaPorte. So we have this goal, and it's a 3-year goal. Right now, today, ending tomorrow, if you go to the district website and you make a donation to the foundation, the district will match it 100%. And so right now, if you donate $25, they'll match it $50, and we're already towards our goal of every member donating at least $50 to Rotary Foundation. Help us get towards our goal of being able to get a district grant. And our total club goal is $3,000. Again, it's not a lot of money, but please, you can get a matching grant today or matching funds today for your donation. And of course, if you really want to work towards a goal, work towards that $1,000 donation, and you can become a Rotary Paul Harris Fellow. So that's my message for today. Thank you all. It was great to see everybody. And I really like Jim. I really like the breakout room format. I think that's really fun. And
okay, good.
One other thing, John Bosbeck, you are on schedule to be Sarge next meeting, next Thursday. So this is a reminder for you.
Okay, good. What do we do? Like we always do, a few questions to each table. Is that what we're going to do?
There you go.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I will send you a list of the table hosts, and then you can send a email to them with 3 or 4 questions that they can discuss at the table.
All right, got it.
And yeah, go ahead, Debbie.
And also please the answers, because sometimes the table reader doesn't know the answer. Not all the table leaders, but some.
Very good.
Very good. One last thing, as far as the matching grants go, if you look at our website, there's an article here talking about matching points 2021. And down in the instructions section, there's actually a link to donate at My Rotary. And if you go through there and then email that off to Judy Walker, that's how she'll do a matching grant. That's the only way we can probably get it done in the short time that we have left. So you can go out to mcrotary.org and find a link in there. Okay, anything else?
Is Judy Walker's email there?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect.
Anything else? If not, it's 1 o'clock. I like to start on time, end on time. So thank you all for coming. Seth, again, thank you very much for your presentation. It was excellent. And I do want you to join Rotary because I want to talk to you a little bit. I've been in the business for 50 some years. And I started out in 1985 trying to develop websites for people in Indiana who
Wow.
looked at me and said, "What are you, crazy? There's no such thing as a website." So it was happening on the coast at that time, but nothing was coming into the center of the country.
That's
So,
actually really fascinating. Yeah, no, I would definitely love to talk more about that. And yeah, thanks for having me today. Awesome
Okay.
people, very welcoming.
all right, thanks for coming, and it's time to be adjourned. Thank you all for showing up today.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.